Well, hello there and welcome to this video on conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. As you will see here, we have some data, and this is airline profitability data for 2010. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at column F here and try and make column F a bit more user-friendly for the kind of consumer, as it were, by using conditional formatting. So if we just highlight column F here and go up to the conditional formatting menu, you'll see this menu is basically split into three sections. We'll look at the middle section first, and this basically contains, well, there's data bars, color scales, and icon sets. I'm going to look at the color scales first. So you can see color scales here, many different options for various different color scales. And if we just mouse over them, you can see that it'll preview the different color scales. So if we click on one, this is a pretty good demonstration of what conditional formatting does. What it's done is it's highlighted the numbers from red through yellow to green, basically based on how they compare to the mean, the average number in the area that we had highlighted. So you see that the low numbers are quite deep red. You know, that one's one of the lowest numbers, so it's quite a deep red, whereas these are all kind of, these yellowy ones are all kind of in the middle, and then you get up to the high numbers and they're in sort of dark green. So it's basically, it's a heat map that can just be applied just like we did to whatever's highlighted on the sheet at the time. So if we just re-highlight that column and go back in here, we can also add data bars and icon sets, and we can add all of them at once if we want, or add them individually. So if we just go for some data bars and make them blue, for example, you'll see the data bars represent the same thing as the colors represent, but in the form of bars going either right or left based on the value and how high or low it is. And then if we click back, the icon sets basically do the same thing, and they'll just put in an icon based on where the number sits compared to the mean again. So you can see this number here, obviously below the mean, these below, these are at about the mean, and then you've got, you know, these numbers, the dark green ones that are above, so they have, you know, downward facing, sideways facing, or upward facing arrows. So if I just undo that, that's the simplest type of conditional formatting, really. And you can do that on a column, or you can do it on an area. You know, you can highlight a big area of numbers and it'll apply it to the whole area. One thing to note though with that, if you've got a total at the bottom, and I'll just put a total in here to demonstrate. Say you had a total like this at the bottom of the column. If you highlight the entire column and conditional format, just go with this again, you'll see that the total is then highlighted dark green, because obviously, you know, it's just looking at the range of numbers and comparing it to the mean. So, you know, that number is the total of all the rest of them. So obviously it's going to be the highest number, and, you know, nothing else is going to be, you know, green in here, because, you know, obviously it's skewed the mean up quite significantly. So just one thing to watch out for is if you're applying a conditional format to a column that has a total at the bottom, make sure that the total isn't highlighted, so you can just highlight it like this, you know, and leave the total out, and then apply the format, and you can see we've got back to what we had before. So if I just undo that and undo that total I added. So if we go back up to the conditional formatting menu, the top part of the menu lets you specify a bit more detail, have a bit more control over what it's doing, and it will apply formats based on these conditions here. So if we pick, say, greater than, for example, so it'll give us what is actually a manual input box, so we can we can specify a value by typing it directly into here. So let's just say 0 for the sake of argument, and it's giving us a preview there. And then we can specify just these presets here of what we want to happen. So, we can change these however we want, and also go down to custom format, and here we can specify exactly what we want it to do. So, we can have the font change, or we can have borders around it. Just throw a border around there and fill it in red, and that type of stuff. And we can also change the format as well. So if we click OK there, you see it's applied those changes that we've just put in, and that's quite useful for formatting if you just want to specify a single number. The other thing you can do in here is, instead of directly typing a number in, you can click on a cell. So you can click on F2, and then it will use the value in F2 to specify the format. And that's the same with all the other options in that menu. I just cancel there. So yeah, the highlight cells rules and the top and bottom rules. Top and bottom rules will basically give you a highlight on top tens, bottom tens, by percentage, by average, etc., etc. And they all effectively work the same. But the only problem with these, they're perfectly useful if you just want sort of one criteria. But if you want multiple criterias, then you need to go down to the bottom section here, and this gives you the sort of fine control over the conditional formatting. So if we click New Rule, you can see this is the new formatting rule window, and this has got kind of the most detailed set of options for applying conditional formatting. So these categories here, they're fairly intuitive in terms of they do what their description says they'll do. You can format cells based on values, so you can put in the lowest value or highest value and format between them. So a finer control of the first thing we tried, with the conditional formatting with the color scales. The format only cells that contain lets you do various variations on formatting based on exactly what the cell value is. Top or bottom rank values is just a more detailed version of the options in the menu we just looked at. The above or below average is the same, and then unique or duplicate values is just really that's a quick way to flag up either your unique or duplicate values. The main one that I tend to use in this list is the bottom one, and that just literally lets you put a formula in, so it gives you the most control over what's happening. And here we can enter a formula in the same sort of way as we would in a worksheet, in order to define what our conditional format would be. So effectively it's an if statement, and the true condition of the if statement or the if function is what causes the format to be applied. So if it's true, it will apply the format. So we can just do a quick format in here and say, well, actually the first thing we need to do is cancel out of this and make sure for this that we only have one cell selected, and you'll see the reason for that in a second. Just click New Rule again, go down here. So what we'll put in here is just a normal formula. So we will say, click on F2 here, and that puts that into the formula, and then say greater than or equal to 0. And then go to Format, and as we saw in the menu above, we've got various options here for different formatting options. I'll just do a yellow fill, I think. OK. And then one thing we want to do, because this is the same as worksheet formula. So we want to make sure that we get rid of the $sign before in front of the 2, because the $sign stops the reference moving, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy this down the worksheet, and if the $sign were there, then it would not, the row number would not move in the formula, so it would not work correctly. So if we just click OK there, and you can see it's highlighted F2 because F2 is greater than 0. So then if we just right click here, copy, and then select where we want to paste it to, and then just right click, paste special, and then formats, and click OK. Now you can see anything greater than 0 has been highlighted in the format that we chose, which was a yellow fill. So that technique obviously could be replicated up here in the highlight cells rules in the greater than, but the benefit you get from this is you can add more conditions. So if we go into manage rules down here, you can see that rule that we've just created is listed there, so we can go in and edit that rule. So we could say something like, well, you could put an AND statement in and say, and F2 is greater than 0, put a comma there, and add in, let's say, E2, just get rid of the $sign there, is equal to, let's have nat packs. So close that bracket to close off the statement, and if we click OK, that's now that rule's now in there, so we click OK, and then same as before, just copy that, highlight down to the bottom of the range that we're looking at, paste special, and then formats, OK, and you can see that the highlighting's now disappeared from those that do not have nat packs as their overall grouping. So this is a major packs and it's greater than 0, but there's no highlight there because of the extra criteria we put in. And you can chain them together as much as you want. You can have as many criteria as you want. You can put multiple rules on the same cell. So you might want to, for example, have it highlight based on just being passenger numbers. So the packs is passenger, by the way. So national passenger and major passenger, nat packs and major packs. So we might want to add a new rule and say, same as we did before, that $sign, F2 is greater than 0, and also, and put that and in there, F2 is greater than 0, then a comma, and then E2 is equal to major packs. So, got the dot at the end there. There we go. And then pick another format. So maybe we want them green, for example. Click OK, and then click OK again. OK on there, and copy, and then paste down. Paste special, formats, OK, and you can see now the major packs that are greater than 0 are highlighted in green, and the national packs that are greater than 0 are highlighted in yellow, and then the other category is major cargo, and that's not highlighted at all. So yeah, that's basically what you can do with the conditional formatting menu in Microsoft Excel. Thanks for watching.